There we go.
Hi everyone, welcome to Lighten Up with Rayania. I am your host Rayania Cheyenne. Today I have a lovely treat. I have Avalina with me. Avalina is one of my dear friends. I have met her through the transformation of breath work, and we just felt like there's such a huge connection, and I just love the brilliance and the beauty and the light she brings through. So I know that the audience will also get to experience the brilliance and the bright light that she is. So welcome, Avalina. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for such a beautiful start to our conversation. So happy to be here and join you, Rayania. It's always a pleasure connecting with you and just sharing whatever wants to come through for both of us. So, yeah, lots of fun.
Indeed, I think that is the signature frequency that is so paramount at this time, is that whatever that is calling our heart, that is bring us joy, fun, peaceful, that is really sort of like the sign.
We've forgotten how that joy is actually our true nature through all the densities and the lenses that we use. But it's really who we naturally are. And, in these times, particularly, it can be, challenging to tap into that joy with all the changes and shifts that are happening individually and on the collective. In the midst of what may seem like a lot of suffering around us, and, witnessing other people experience suffering, whether you're experiencing it yourself or indirectly because of people you're involved with or people it's we all can feel that because we're all one. So it's really holding the perspective, that anything that is being experienced by anyone in our world, you're feeling it in some way, shape, or form yourself. So this whole matter of like operating from like a high vibe place and being in a joyful state, it's like, well, how do you do that? How do you honor, yourself and honor humanity at the same time? Because there's such a vast amount of experiences happening right now. There's such a shift in so many people embodying joy, and then there's many people who are caught up in a lot of the conflicts and chaos that's happening right now. So, you really have to give yourself permission to really feel genuinely joy when you can. And that's the key right there, is genuine, like really genuinely feeling it. Like it's not like suggesting you bypass or, when you're feeling the weight, when you're feeling heaviness or you're feeling sadness and grief or sorrow, it's you allow yourself to feel that and you're in it. It's not about bypassing those feelings, but when you're genuinely joyful and laughing and playful and expressing yourself creatively, feel it with gusto, feel it with all your heart, because this is you, not being disrespectful of those who are suffering. This is you, adding more joy into the field, into the field of experience that we're all drawing from, because we're all one.
Yeah.
So, which allows someone else who may be suffering, perhaps a gateway, into that joy moment. So it's a sharing, right? Yeah. It's a sharing. We're all working together, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. I love the knowing, or the information that because we are all connected, and there's this energy that we are all putting in our share of the emotions.
Yes. Yeah.
We are able to put in what is lightening us up, what is the joy, then we are actually being of service, or we are helping.
Exactly.
And I think that's where most people, I would say, I get caught up, because many people are very sensitive, and then they will and say, oh, I feel the sadness. Sometimes it's our own during the healing process, but sometimes it's just collectively going through something.
How
do we how do we, as a sensitive or empath, or, when we feel that weight, that sadness, or that grief, collective sadness, how do we process? Oh,
Yeah. Well, it's exactly what you're saying. Like, you're being of service. So even if you're feeling the weight of something, you're being of service, because when you process that and you transmute that, you're doing that for everyone, not just yourself. So all of it is very cohesive. And and it's just really being present and not judging what you're going through, really honoring the experience, because every experience you have is showing you something. There's a gift in every moment. There's a gift of shifting something. So anytime that you're feeling something that is unpleasant, it's just you being out of the alignment with yourself, shifting your perspective, feeling what it is you need to feel. We always, like, number like 101 is feel, like, right? Just allow yourself to feel it without attaching a story to it. And then it just becomes very simple, and it becomes a practice of allowing yourself to feel whatever's in your field. Feel the programming, feel the ancestral programming, all of it, your experiences, and allow them to resurface, because they're all going to do that. It's the patterns are always there until we face them, right? And embrace them, right? Because they really just want to be seen. They're really densities that just want to come home. They just want to be loved. And you put them there out of love, thinking you were protecting yourself. So it's all made of love. It all originates from love. It's just not understanding what it is that we're feeling and putting a judgment on it, resisting it, not wanting to feel it, and shifting your perspective on really what's actually happening. Like, what actually are you experiencing in this moment? And how are you going to move through that? Choosing, how am I going to move through this moment? What am I going to do with this moment to allow myself to embody more of my natural state of being, which is pure love, light, and joy. And so when you realize that everything is an opportunity, every moment is an opportunity, everything around you, because we're creating our own reality. So we're literally here showing ourselves our own stuff so we can move through it and embody and embrace our natural true essence in the human form. I mean, it's incredible, really, what's happening. It's such a gift. It's such a gift to be here. Whenever I find something that's uncomfortable surface in my awareness and in my reality, I'm just like, wow, look at that. There's something else for me to process, which means there's a gift on the other side. That means there's more love and joy on the other side. Right. So if you look at it in that way, if you look at it, the challenge in front of you, or whatever the circumstance is, as I am receiving this, I have created this situation, this moment, this experience for myself in order for me to let go of something, release something, or process something, so I can move into a higher vibration, so I can embody more of my soul and live the life in a human form of my pure love, light, and joy. Yeah. And then once you embrace that, it's like everything becomes fun. It's like, okay, bring it. Like when something challenging comes out, I'm like, all right, I'm on, game on, let's go. It's exciting, because I know that I'm moving more and more into an incredible higher state of being, which is pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, that I could feel that joy and that, bring it on.
Yeah, exactly.
But so I want to share from my personal experience, or also like some of the experience I had in contact with some people, is that, so for me, I have been observing myself going this yo-yo. Like, there are days I just feel like, yeah, okay, I can feel I am the divine being. I am like source light. Yeah. And there are days I would just like inside the wash machine, I was like tumbling in whatever thought, that dense emotion, just like, oh my God, I am a failure, or I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. And I know a lot of people actually are going through, separation of relationship, or they are in the middle of making that decision. And is that feeling of, I just get sticky and stuck in this, I don't know, I don't see the way out, or I cannot move myself out of this emotion. And what do we do when we are in that state? Whether it's the sadness, it's the overwhelm, it's just powerless.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, the first thing is not to judge what you're feeling. So like what you're talking about, like the waves, like it kind of has to be that way, right? Like we couldn't just go straight up the hill without plateauing and letting ourselves integrate, right? Like how challenging would that be if we are not able to have a shift, release something, move through something, and then feel the release of it, because that's what keeps us going, right? Like, yes, this is a better state of being than I was before. There is evolution here. There's evolution here happening. So then it's like, you expect to like go through the troughs and go up, but you're gradually moving up. So it actually makes it easier for us as humans to like, at least get to experience the shifts of the joy of moving through something, because how exciting is that, right, when you let go of something. So and it can be tricky when you are feeling an emotion that, especially when it's really, really deep, and to not trying to rush it, really honoring what the body is feeling without touching the story. You have to drop the story and feel the sensations of the body. Right. And to me, that's one of the easiest ways. If I'm, through a time where I was feeling something that was persistent, right? Just did not want to go away. And it's just like, when is this going to end? Right. And if you just sit and not go to your go-tos of, food, doing stuff, and you just sit with it. And the longer you can sit with it and let it move through the body, feeling it through the body, it really almost scientifically, like very somatic type of observation, and breathing. The breath, when you breathe through it, you're breathing your awareness into those areas. You're allowing yourself to process them as witness. Witnessing it without sort of feeling the like, oh, why am I still feeling this? Like the judgment, like the like, oh, I don't want to do this, because then you're kind of falling into the victimhood, right? Like, I don't want to feel this feeling. But when you just sit there with the breath and allow it to, put in your awareness there, you sort of, your perspective expands and you don't hold that judgment, and it just moves so much easier that way. I find. So, I mean, really just sitting and breathing and giving yourself the patience and the compassion. I mean, you have to have compassion for yourself. We came here as warriors to do this. We signed up to process. So everything that, like, if you're going through something really challenging, you signed up to do that because you knew you were a spiritual warrior and you were going to be able to handle that with grace and ease. So just accepting your role, it makes it a little bit easier. Accepting the role that you signed up to do this for everyone, for humanity, to move, because this is an incredible time to be here. It's the place to be in the universe, I guess you could say.
It's like a special festival for the souls. Definitely. I think for me, what has worked for me, if I stay in that stuck in that state, I would journal. It does not always pull me right out of that emotional state, but I think it's about presencing, like what you are saying, sit with that emotion without story. And for me, it worked. What worked is to really have a dialogue with myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are different parts of me wanted to talk, wanted to say. And then, and I think very soon my guides would join, and then there'll be like conversation. And I agree with what you say about the compassion for ourselves. Like, gosh, we are so judgmental of ourselves.
Oh, yes, we're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah, we should be successful, be productive, and be.
I shouldn't be feeling this. Why is this still happening?
I've done my
Yeah.
meditation, I've done my healing,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I'm 40 years old, I'm 50 years old, why am I still like,
Yeah.
like there's
Yeah.
so much judgment for ourselves, and that is
Yeah.
the number one, I think, factor that tripped us over to keep us in that loop. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nurturing yourself, having compassion for yourself is paramount, really, especially right now.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Mm-hmm.
And also what came through when you were sharing is that we do this not only for ourselves. We often think, what we are struggling with, this feeling of, I don't know, failure or breaking, not able to
Yeah.
relationship or not able to trust ourselves. And I, I'm really coming to a realization that we are doing it also on behalf or
Mm-hmm.
together with all our
Yeah.
ancestors, like all the
Yeah.
lineage that
Yeah.
before us, that they are
Yeah.
different scale or different context because the time was different.
Yeah. Yeah. If you just remember, it's not about you. It's not about you. Whatever you're feeling, the emotions, the any, intense,
Mm.
you know, suffering or like sadness or whatever, it's not about you. It's not who you are. It's not you. You're just experiencing it. You're just having this experience. It's not who you are. You're not the emotion. You're
Mm.
not the thoughts. You're just experiencing this so you can process it
Mm.
and have an experience as your true nature in a human form. And in this ascension cycle, this hasn't really been done before to the level that we're going to at this point. So there's so much opportunity right now to ascend in a way that's never been done before,
Mm.
ever. So it's really really exciting times.
Yeah, could you speak more about this ascension that has never done before? What is your understanding, or what do you say,
Yeah.
understanding? Like,
Yeah. So, in the past, like we've always, like a lot of you'll see a lot of teachers in the past, they would move and they go out of the body, right? And you ascend out of the body and you leave your body. But we're coming into the body, and this has been done before, but at this particular time, there's an opportunity to embody much higher levels that have not been done before. We're not just like moving into 5D, right? Like there's potential to go beyond, way beyond. There's no limits right now. There are no limits to what is possible. So embodying your full God self is possible in this timeline right now, which is not something my understanding, has been possible, or not that it wasn't impossible, but very challenging to do.
yeah,
Whereas now there is so much support for this right now. And so the opportunity is limitless right now, limitless of what's possible.
yeah.
Being in a human body right here on this planet. It may not look like that out there,
No.
but there is definitely two sides happening right now, and I'm sure you feel it too. When you witness what's happening and then you move into your center, it's like, wow, this is amazing. It's like it's a very dramatic time to be here. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually I wanted to ask, like, because I know, like you mentioned, like, when we are in pure in our center, in our high heart, or in our essence, we can feel that level of connection, that
Mm-hmm.
level of, immensity and the
Yeah.
power. I think that the power is that, like how much bigger we actually are than this human being
Mm-hmm.
body. So what is your way to maintain or to go into this state in the day to day, because we could be like feeling super amazing and we go out to the town
Mm-hmm.
shopping, or the traffic
Yeah.
or
Well,
things.
eventually, the more you practice, right, the more that doesn't happen, and you just you're solid, you're rooted, you can't be shifted out of the space that you're in. So it's really a practice of awareness, and staying, using the breath, connecting, intentionally connecting. And, kind of like what you were saying about the journaling, you're always receiving information from your higher self. You're always getting communication. So, using the breath and really focusing on what you're choosing, how you're choosing to experience whatever it is you're experiencing, because your higher self is always sort of speaking to you. Your higher self is always showing you your true nature, and it's speaking to you from your true nature. It's not going to say, hey, you are love and blah, 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 blah. It's speaking to you from within that state. So, it's like, okay, you are love, and this is what love would do. So whenever you're feeling like you're going out of alignment, it's really your higher self sort of like turning away from everything which is not love. So when you're in that space and you're in that center and you go out, like you're saying, and you experience the world and you find yourself shifting out of this space, this center alignment, right, in the center of your core, it's really just a matter of shifting your perspective, of shifting, being aware, right? Always being aware of what your reality is, what you're choosing, what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. But if you keep the perspective of what your reality is showing you, and if you're perceiving if you're suffering in any way and you're out of that space, you're perceiving reality in a way that's somewhat distorted. And so and what it is your higher self is like, whoa, this is not you, this is not who we are, this is not love. And so it's sort of a correction principle within you. When you go out and you experience something, it's really when the higher self sort of turns away from that which is not love, we interpret that as suffering. We interpret that as this isn't a good experience, and we start judging, right? So shifting the perspective. I mean, because anything that disturbs this state of being in your center, that the higher self is pointing out that your perception is off in some way. And then it just becomes simple. Whenever there is any kind of disturbance, simply pause and ask, okay, where's my perception off? What is it that I need to hear in the voice of truth? And when you acknowledge that, you will get the awareness. The awareness will come. Your higher self will always bring it. And then it's just a matter of using those as gifts every single time, because every little thing is just another little nugget of an opportunity.
Yeah, I love it. I'm just having a conversation with my higher self.
It's really simple. Like, we try to make it so complicated, but it's super, super simple. Our minds want to make it so complicated, like, oh, I can't do this, oh, I don't understand, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, really, it's so simple. It's so simple. Don't allow yourself to get overwhelmed with it, and just breathe and just like, okay, I'm just going to allow myself to experience whatever I'm experiencing right now. And that's really, if you do that, you move mountains.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, but a lot of people, I mean, there's this resistance, it's part of us know that, okay, it is not in my highest good to make this decision to go this way. But then being human, which is like, I have this gut instinct, but then I decide I still want to do what I want to do. Like, a lot of people would do the tarot cards, they would ask pendulum, they would ask people for guidance, and then they will make different decision. But what I want to wish to explore is this resistance. Like, how do you feel? Why do we do that? Like, we know what is right, but we chose to experience a different.
Yeah. Well, part of that is, the desires of what we want, right? Like, so we want something or we really want this. And it's just like when you think of like a person who stays in a relationship that's bad for them, right? It's like, we really want this. We really want this to work, even though we really know deep down that this is not the right thing for me, but we do it anyway. And it really boils down to the attachment, right? Like the attachment of the things we think we want. I mean, how many times you think you want something and then you realize afterwards, like, well, this isn't what I want. And you move on to something else, and then you move on to something else. And it's just, it's never satisfying, right? Because we attach to things and we expect, we're putting an expectation of a future moment that's going to fulfill us more than this particular moment. So, and it's really a lack mentality, because whatever you're, wanting and you're attached to, it applies that you don't already have that, that you need something outside of yourself. You're trying to hold on to something. You want something, you think this is the right thing. And, that's really sort of a resistance towards reality. Like, and that makes us suffer, right? If we want something different than what is, we're holding on, and all we really need to do is change our perception. It's really back to communicating with your higher self and showing you where you're not allowing what is in front of you and what is what you're feeling, what the sensations you're feeling, to show you, because your body always knows. Your body always knows the right answer. So, it's letting go of those attachments and really feeling what feels right. And sometimes you can even, like, if you're looking at two choices, you can feel into one choice and feel how it feels in the body, and then feel the other one, and which one's more exciting. Sometimes it can be really simple of, which one excites me more, and often that one is also going to give you the most fear.
Yes.
So that's where it can be confusing, because it's like, okay, yeah, that's exciting, but there's a lot of fear around that, because that excitement requires a lot of change.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to change.
Right.
So we go back to the comfort of the old decision of what we know and what we think, is going to be good for us, because it's safe. We want to be safe. And so it's really not, trusting. You just have to trust when you're being in the situation where you're making a choice. You have to trust what you're feeling and not let your mind step in and, dictate. Yeah. So, again, practicing with feeling, meditation, breathing,
breath work.
Yeah.
I feel it's important to point out, I think what you mentioned, that, very often when we have this attachment, whether it's the illusion for the future, which is different from what we don't want right now.
Yeah.
Or what we want to hold on to. And very often it originates from this lack mentality.
Yeah.
I'll never find someone better.
Yeah.
But get a better job. I will never fill in the blank.
Yeah. We're always looking for the outside. And you'll never find it. You'll never find the contentment if you're searching from in the outside. It always has to come from within. It's having total contentment with what is and never being attached to outcomes is what really creates bliss. Because if you don't want anything in the world, then you can't suffer, because the world can't disappoint you anymore.
Right.
So, happiness comes from the collapsing of desire, not the fulfillment of it. And we've all pretty much have had a taste of that. It doesn't mean you don't, do anything or have hobbies and enjoy your life. It just means you don't have attachment to the outcome of it. You don't believe that any of those things, can give you a greater fulfillment that you already have right now. Because we can experience pleasure without clinging to it. Mm-hmm. And we can also experience pain without resisting. And resisting pain is what suffering is. So pain without resistance is just pain. So if I get some bad news, my mind will initially interpret that as pain in the moment, but I can quickly say, okay, I accept this. This is what life has dealt me. This is what my higher self is showing me. This is the gift, and I will see through it. And this is why transcending desire means transcending suffering, because once you stop chasing after pleasure, you also naturally stop resisting pain. Mm. They go hand in hand. They're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. I'm when you are saying, I'm seeing this vision of, or this sense of like, once we're able to let go of the resistance, the attachment, and then inside. So it's almost like we are the self-regenerating being.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're never going to experience love anywhere outside of you, because it's all inside you. What you're wanting is yourself again.
Yeah.
And you're wanting the love that's inside you, and you're just being misdirected to something else. Because there's nothing else in the world that's going to love you more than you.
Yeah, I wanted to play devil's advocate. For someone who has never experienced like unconditional love from the parent, with the origin, or and we know that when we don't experience that from our childhoods, we tend to replicate relationship, relationship that replicate that dynamics. So for someone who has never experienced love or unconditional love, how do we go from here to, no, not there, but like to access that unconditional within?
Well, practicing self-love is really probably the easiest, most simplest, fastest way to like really like move through your journey and ascend is learning to love yourself. Because once you realize that there's, whether you've experienced unconditional love from someone else or not, first of all, you chose that experience when you came in to either experience unconditional love as a child and, be raised in a family that way based on your blueprint of how you came in. So maybe that was the experience you needed. Maybe you didn't need that. Maybe you didn't need to experience unconditional love. And your journey of learning conditional love is, through different experiences, different experiences with others, different experiences with yourself. Because what I find in relationships is that, we always tend to, we can learn from someone who's showing us unconditional love. Like we can tap into that energy and, let that person inspire us to do that for ourselves, right? Because you have to do it for yourself first. Like you can't give unconditional love until you actually unconditionally love yourself. Because you can't give what you can't give what you don't already have, right?
Right.
So when we understand that, a relationship with someone else is really the mirror, right? Like all our relationships are there to be mirrors. They're really there to show us what's inside of us. So when you're in a relationship and you fall madly in love or deeply in love with someone, you're coming together and you're agreeing to show each other what's possible. I'm showing you what's inside you, you're showing me what's inside me. So, like as you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of relationships ending right now. So, you both agreed to come together, have this shared experience. But what we often think is we think what we felt came from that other person, or that it was because of them. And that's, that creates the attachment, like what we were talking about before, which causes the suffering when a relationship ends. But suffering doesn't happen because you love that person, they loved you unconditionally, you loved them, and now they're gone. The suffering is the attachment, because there's no suffering in love. There's no pain in love. Right. There's no flip side to love. You were just simply projecting that feeling of love you once had for someone, when all that feeling was all inside you all along. It was yours to begin with. And it's always available to you. You just didn't allow yourself to feel it until, that person came along. And then, you allow that person to show you. So literally all these relationships are mirrors for what's inside you. So when you really start to embrace that, you realize, well, it's all inside me. All the love that I've experienced from someone else is really just them sparking the love in me. So that love, it comes from me. It's I can feel it anytime, all the time, every moment. It's always been there. There's no need to feel it from someone else, right? Because you can't feel someone else's feeling. So what is it that you're actually feeling? You're feeling your own love. You're feeling that unconditional love inside you. So it just becomes a practice, and it becomes a shifting of your perspective on what love really is. It is not some, cookie cutter, chocolate wrapped in, beautiful cellophane, right? It's like, it's our being. It's who we are. It's a frequency. It's a vibration that is our core. It's not separate from us. Yeah. So just understanding that and allowing yourself to feel that whenever you can. You don't have to have that experience with someone else, or whether it be a parent or whatever. So, we didn't come here to go around collecting love from other people. We came here to learn to love ourselves, right?
No. Yeah, but I do also want to say that this is such a important phase of unlearning, right? It's almost like we sort of, I almost felt like so many of us just grow into this belief that love is, you're Prince Charming.
Yeah.
The other half is, you are not complete until someone else complete you.
Yeah.
So such a phase of unlearning, and really like coming back to what you mentioned in the beginning, that this is such an incredible time to be alive. Human, to be going through this, whether we want to call it ascension, 5D or whatever, or simply just life. It is so incredible because we get to really come into this space of, I would say, it's almost like enlightenment. I feel enlightenment is not like you just do stop eating or stop breathing. You just like going elevated in the air like Buddha. I don't know. Yeah. That understanding of that what you seek outside is already inside you. Once we are able to allow us going through this, of course, painful, because unparting, like breaking up is always painful. Yeah. But just allow us to go through this, shift.
Yeah. We're literally like shedding, like we came here in these, incarnated in these human forms with, all this, heaviness, stuckness, energies, and that have been here for so long. Guys, she's shifted, but for so long, we were carrying, our ancestors and everything, all this heaviness. And so it's not easy. No, I mean, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. We'd all be walking around enlightened. So it is, it's, we should be proud of ourselves. We should be congratulating ourselves for the amazing job that we're doing. Yeah. Of really just shaking the past and moving into a state of potential for being in a human body that is beyond anything we can dream of. It's beyond our expectations. Because if we knew, obviously, then we were expecting and we knew what was going to happen, we'd be putting it in a container, we'd be putting it in a box, and then we'd be limiting ourselves.
Right.
It's much, much more greater than that. There's so much potential here right now. It's actually so exciting. So exciting to be here right now. Yeah. I mean, it just makes the work, like this whole journey, this whole path. It's like, I'm so grateful to have experienced all the 3D stuff that I've experienced in my life. I went through a whole, many, several decades of experiencing 3D, and then to have the opportunity to move through all that and to start to experience what, really what being a human is meant to be like. Like,
Right.
wow. It's like, we don't go to, like, nobody climbs Mount Everest and takes a, helicopter to the top and say, yeah, I went to Mount Everest. It's the climb, right? It's the
Right.
journey.
Right. Right.
It's the journey there. It's being here now and going through the process, having this journey. That is the gift.
Yeah.
We're all going to look back at this and be like, oh my God, remember when we did this? And then I remember on Earth, it's just going to be, precious. It's going to be precious this time here. And so really honoring the densities and the heaviness of, I mean, like, where else can you go and experience such drama that we're experiencing right now? It's really, there's a lot of juice here. And if you really allow it to just be what it is and, really respect it and, honor it, it's like, it just becomes so much less of a suffering. It's more, you're just sort of observing it, and it's you just see the beauty in it. Really, you see the beauty of what's actually happening.
So, could you share one of your personal experience that now from where you are, climbing all these mountains, look back, like something that was really hard, and then now you look back, you have like really have a different appreciation.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think which, because there's so many, right? Like, it's
Right,
like,
right, definitely. Yeah.
um, I would say when my father passed,
Mm,
uh, it was a really challenging time for me. Not that I was attached to him, but, the sadness there was pretty much, I had processed that, and the loss of him was actually quite easeful and graceful for me. But it was everything else that went around it, with the family. I was in charge of the estate, and
mm,
so all this density came onto me, and I left. I moved. I ended up leaving where I was living,
mm.
and it was a very challenging time with family. And when I look back at it now, it was all an opportunity for me to, one, forgive, and to really let go of, because as we know, we're the creators of our reality. And when I did let go of that, everything becomes clear. It becomes clear why I experienced what I experienced, why it took so long,
What?
to go through that. Like you're saying, like, sometimes these things they just stay, and they don't really, you can't move through it, right?
Mm,
Because it's deep, it's heavy, in this particular case, it's with family, and that runs deep all the way to childhood, right? But I'm so grateful, because the shift that came out when I let go of all that was
mm.
the most freeing experience. One of the biggest shifts I'd ever had. Like, sometimes you move a shift and it's like, oh wow, I've changed, I've really let go, and you don't notice it. It's like, watching your hair grow, right? You can't really see it. But sometimes you get a shift where it's just like so fast and so abrupt that you're just like, wow, like we mentioned earlier, the ups and downs, where you just skyrocket up, like you're literally like a hot air balloon, and you just dumped off a bunch of sand and your balloon just went up, a few hundred feet. So yeah, that was probably a really experience that I'm extremely grateful for. That was, and the more challenging they are, the more opportunity, right? The more appreciative you can be.
Yeah. So I know, family is one of
Yeah.
the biggest challenges for
Yeah.
one of us, is many of us. So,
Yeah.
that's, do you have any thing you want to share for people who are going through difficult situation, no matter the story
Yeah.
situation,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. It's funny because whenever I see family dynamics in people, and it's because I always see like the person as the structure of their light body and everything, and it's almost like you see the ego as like a cage, and it's like this structure, and there's all these like densities on it, right? Like you may have like be holding something here in your heart, or something in your hips or in your legs or wherever, and your family, they know where all these spaces are, so they know how to trigger you, right? So and it can happen so easy because they know where, and they're almost like buttons. You could imagine them like, here's your structure and here's your human form, and you have all these buttons, like, and most people have like maybe 3 really big ones of really like big programming, and then they'll have a bunch of smaller ones. And so when you're around family, they can just be like, and it's such a gift. They'll be like, oh, look, do you see this button right here? I'm going to push that one and I'm going to trigger you. And it's really, when you think about because you get triggered the most with your family, right? Like they know where your buttons are. But what a gift. Like those relationships are intense for a reason. Because they're the ones that know where your buttons are. So if you really look at it, and again, back to shifting your perspective, is okay, this person is showing me where I'm holding on to suffering. They're showing me where I'm still holding something. They're pushing this button. It's not about them. So what a gift. What a gift that every time I have a reaction or emotional reaction or anything from a family member, it's because out of love, they've agreed to incarnate with me and point out to me anywhere that I'm holding on to something, even if it's that person, is maybe, in your opinion, did something wrong, or it's not your fault. It doesn't matter, right? Because if you're having a reaction, then it's in your field. You have to take responsibility for what you're experiencing, and you can think of responsibility as your ability to respond, right? Like, how are you responding to the experience? Because no one's making you feel anything. If your family member said something to me, the same thing to me, it wouldn't affect me, right? It would just go right through me. Right. So it's not the words, it's not what they're saying, it's got nothing to do with them. It's all about what you're holding on to. So if you look at your family members as a gold mine to point out, like if you think, oh, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to work on. Like if you're waking up and like, well, I don't know what I need to do. Just go visit your family. and see what emotions come up, and then you'll know, because that's how easy it is. Like it becomes that simple, and and it can almost be like a game, when you go visit family, and there's any kind of drama or any kind of anything moving you from your center, then there you go, there's your gift right there. You can let go of that and then find more peace, love, and joy. And then when you see your family members, nothing, like they may try their old patterns with you and try the old things, and they just don't land anymore. They just move through you because you've dissolved that. So then your relationship with them starts to shift. And then your relationship with each family member starts to elevate into something higher and greater. And then they evolve. And sometimes that means they fall away. Sometimes that means you get closer together. They start to shift with your shifting. They start to shift with your vibration.
Absolutely.
Lots of fun.
I can laugh about it, but not after. I hear so many stories about interaction with family. It is
Oh
indeed
yeah.
the hugest, like if you think about the video game, whoever play the video game, they are like the ultimate level of this big monster or looks.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But I do also want to say it's also the place where we get to learn how to become fully ourselves, in our sovereignty, in our
Yeah.
individuality, in our unconditional love.
Yeah.
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 Because it's all unconditional love, and that's what family is, right? It's unconditional love.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you're getting both, right? You're getting the ones that love you unconditionally, and those are the ones who are willing to help you.
Mm,
So it may not seem that way. So like in my instance with my family, what it give, I was, for me, if I was to hold on to anger and resentment for what was experiencing with my family, but then if you shift that, like out of love, they are willing to put themselves in this role to point out to me what what I need to let go of. Like how, like that is unconditional love.
mm, mm.
So what, if you really think of it that way, it's like you can't hold on to anger because that person was willing to do that for you. How
Yeah.
amazing is that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, I think to know the higher perspective, but also to really allow ourselves to really feel into that, like,
Yeah.
they are here
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Out
enable.
of
Yeah.
right, out of the unconditional love, they're willing to potentially put themselves in a situation where, that relationship may not be there anymore, or a hostile relationship with that family member. But it's
Right.
all done out of unconditional love to
Mm,
show you.
yeah.
And then you realize how special that is.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just feeling into, no matter how much judgment we have for example, for my parent,
Hmm.
but I could also feel into, she is also under a lot of all the programmings, all the
Yeah.
systems, all the, her own upbringing.
Yeah.
She didn't, she wished she received, but she never received, right? Like
Yeah.
if we take
Yeah.
now how much the other person is also suffering and whatever they
Yeah.
gone through in order to become who they are. So
Hmm.
really so many layers. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so to
Yeah.
shift the
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Because everyone's doing the best they can with what they have,
Absolutely.
what they came in with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So,
often that gets passed down, or, perhaps it gets processed somewhere along the way.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yes, in the, I think lately I started to feel like, it's really a gift to be a human at this time.
Hmm.
With all the good, the bad, the ugly, the
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
all the spectrums, the full spectrums of emotions.
Exactly.
And it's really up to us to see how we want to navigate. I think coming back to what you mentioned as well about the choice.
Hmm.
What do we choose to see the world? How do we choose to experience the day? What frequency or what reality
Yeah.
choose to experience?
Yeah. Because you can go through a challenging situation and still hold joy
Hmm.
during that if you choose to have the higher perspective of what you're experiencing, you
Yeah.
know and it's just like, if you think about like the carpet here, if there was like an insect crawling across the carpet, it may look like total chaos, like this doesn't make any sense, I understand, but for me, the carpet has a perfect pattern, right?
Uh-huh.
So when you allow yourself to like really just hold a higher perspective, hold the perspective that comes from your heart,
Mm.
then it's not so you don't get so caught up in it. You don't get so caught up in the experience. You're not like drowning in the experience. You're in it, but you're also just observing it. And then it just, you can hold the joy and still experience whatever challenge you may be in.
Yeah.
And that allows you to transmute.
Right. Yeah, I think it's almost that the sense of you just become a neutral observer.
Yeah.
Well, and then process the emotion, but then you choose to observe things without attachment, without judgment.
Yeah.
And really connect to, I would say connect to ourselves, but of course we're always connect to our higher self and all the our guides. And then really it's like there each moment offers us the opportunity to elevate. I don't know, the word is elevate. Like really we could always, vibrate higher and higher and then get ourselves out of what we thought is an issue, is a challenge.
Yeah. Because it's just an experience, right?
Yeah.
The challenge is just an experience.
Right.
So basically you're judging the experience.
Yeah.
Right. As good or bad.
Right.
When really it's just your perspective. If you shift the perspective, you won't judge it as bad, and then you can allow yourself to have the joy.
Yeah. I think I want to say one of the most powerful thing is that we human has the capability, the capacity to shift just 1 second.
Yes.
And then we could decide to see, okay.
Yeah. Instantaneously. Yeah.
Instantaneously out of the difficult situation. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so much can happen in a second. Like you see some people, they wake up extremely, extremely fast. Right now, because there's so much opportunity on this planet right now, so much energy. Some people are waking up extremely, extremely fast, and they chose to come in that way and allow themselves to. And then other people, it's, more of a slow process, maybe decades of lots of meditation and so forth. So yeah, you can't hold yourself back to like what's possible in each second, because when you choose to be here in the heart, and you choose to stay in your center, you choose to see things through the lens of love, then everything becomes easier. And then you start shifting. Like when you're holding everything in the lens of love, because everything is love, right? Even the densities, they're there out of love. You put them there out of love because you're the creator of your reality. You thought you needed this programming came in, and you set up these beliefs and blah, 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 blah. It was all out of love, because that's our true nature. So when you start to like really put on that lens, it becomes so much more graceful, and joyful and peaceful, and so much more gratitude comes in for everything that you're experiencing, no matter if it's challenging or not challenging.
Beautiful. And I just want to come back to what we were talking about in the beginning, like, allow the joy to be your navigation.
We came full circle here.
Right.
Well, that's what it boils down to, right? Love and joy. I mean, that's what we all want. That's what we all are. We're just walking through this timeline, having these experiences, being things, bringing in our higher selves and bringing in the oversoul, and just exploring the potential of what we can do in these human bodies.
Really allow ourselves to open up to the infinite potentials of life. In each moment, I think each moment lies that infinite potential.
Absolutely.
Wow. I love I love our conversation.
We always have amazing conversations.
It's incredible. It's like
there's so much to explore,
There's so much to explore. And then, sometimes it's the words, but it's the frequency, it's the images, it's that level of openness that the mission is really to imagine if we live our life without attachment, without judgment, and really open and connect to our highest. in
We're
our
free. You'd be free.
free. Yeah,
Yeah.
freedom. That's all
Yeah. Imagine that, imagine that feeling.
to be free.
Yeah.
Need to be ourselves as well.
Yeah, and it's in everything that we're discussing here now is just this is where we are right now as a collective. We're moving through some densities, and so like we're talking about this and what we're moving through, and maybe the next time we talk, it could be really about like the changes in the body, the changes of men. I mean, it's so exciting. Like this path is such an exploratory stage at this moment. So every time we get together and talk, it's like there's always something new to explore. Always.
Yeah. I think it's also like, the time is so fast or so fluid, as another
Hmm.
word we could use. It's like so much is opening up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like what we can access, what we can experience, what,
Yeah. It's almost shocking, isn't it? Like when
right?
things start to manifest so fast, like almost instantaneously, it's like, whoa, like, okay, let me really get clear on what I want here because things are happening fast. Like things are, showing up almost instantaneously. It's like, okay, let me really get clear on what I want, where I'm going,
Yeah.
because it's going to happen, you
Yeah.
know, our
Yeah.
intention is that powerful.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
really be vigilant of where we put our focus on, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Right.
because we know energy follows, attention. So
Right.
if
Right.
you're focusing on something negative, then you're creating more of that, right? So,
Yeah.
like, really getting clear on what you want to create,
Yeah.
because the level of possibility right now is off the charts. Like, things that I'm experiencing, seeing something I want, and all of a sudden, like within an hour, it's there. It's just like, the magic is here. Like there is magic here. Like it's very tangible and very present. And there's no going anywhere. There's no like where we're going, where it's here now. It's
Right.
all here right now.
Right.
It's just a
Yeah.
matter of us stepping into it.
I love that. Yeah, I love what you say. It's just a matter of it's up to us whether
Yeah, exactly.
we want to choose, we're ready to
Yeah, yeah,
go for the magic,
yeah,
the
yeah.
wonder, the infinite potential.
Yeah. Are you ready to create from that space?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Powerful. It's so powerful.
Yeah. Oh, so for to conclude our conversation, I actually wanted to ask you if whatever comes to your mind. If
Yeah.
it's okay to share, what do you wish to create
For myself,
for yourself? Yeah.
um,
For the community or no.
yeah. So for me, I am here to embody the fullest amount of my true nature all the way up to, the source.
Mm,
I'm here to go all the way in the ascension cycle. Um, and I'm, fully committed to that. And I've been commanding that. And as you know, when you command, you get results. Uh, so yeah, that's pretty much where my 100% of my focus is on for myself at this moment. Yeah. And it's exponential, right? Like the more you do, the faster it happens.
yeah.
Um, so I'm seeing a lot of, people close to me and around me, moving very quickly,
Mm,
shifting very quickly,
mm.
um, right now. And that's pretty much what I'm creating for myself at this moment.
Yeah. Wow. I can feel the immensity, the
Yeah.
infinity of that. Like it just,
Yeah. And it is, it's infinite. There's no limits.
yeah.
There's no limits. There's no, end,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm,
Yeah.
I
Very
love
exciting.
that. It's inspiring. It's inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. So, do you have any last words you wanted to share?
Um, well, I would just say for now, like, if I could just, you know, if there was one thing to say. It would just be, really watch your choices, particularly at this time. Watch what you're allowing yourself to believe in throughout your day, because the little ones, the little beliefs, the little tiny choices, the little ones are just as important. They all add up to one thing. So, you can shift something massive with even just a little tiny action. So really staying aware of what you're choosing to participate in and where you're bringing your energy. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Because that's your currency. That's, you're choosing to have the experience, and you can shift, you have the power to shift anything.
Yeah.
So, start choosing, as Yoda would say, choose wisely.
Choose wisely, yes, because that's what we are creating, whatever we choose.
Right.
Even with decisions.
And everything is a choice. There's nothing that's happening in your reality that's not a choice.
Yeah.
Or that you're participating in, I should say, is a choice. I mean, things happen, but how we choose to engage with it and how we choose to experience it is up to us.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Avalina.
Such a joy. Yeah.
Yeah. Such a delight. Yeah. It is such an incredible opportunity to really be here together, having this conversation, but also to go through this journey together, because I think
it is.
We don't know what's going to happen. I mean,
yeah.
we have
and that's the beauty and fun of it, right? Like, if we knew, then how boring would that be, right?
I know, right? Yeah. So I wish you a really, really amazing, fantastic, magical time to come.
Thank you. Yes, and you as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today. I truly hope that the audience could really feel into the embodiment, the joy, the high frequency, and the liberating conversation. The conversation that is.
Yeah. Well, it was a co-creative conversation, so that's reflective of you as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good. So hope to have you back.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
No, see what.
Thank you so much for having me join you. It was such a joy. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And thank you for everyone who's with us today. Definitely, we are sending you so many well wishes and hope your life is, filled with new perspective, and you're able to really allow yourself to receive what life has, or your higher self holds for you. So until next time, take good care and enjoy being human here right now.
Yes. Till next time.
Yeah. Bye for now.